way from the UK, our first pair of Tottenham Hotspur players, Oliver Skipp and Joe Rodon. Hi, Oliver and Joe. I'm Amanda. It's nice to meet you. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah, all good, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Well, everyone here is so excited to hear from you. So here's my first question. As professionals playing in the big leagues, there's undoubtedly a lot of pressure to perform. Would you say it's impossible to play your best if you are not physically and mentally prepared?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think it's very important how you prepare for a game, things like nutrition, sleep, making sure the day of the game you're getting the right foods, for example, like carbohydrates to give us energy, and then making sure that you get a lot of sleep to help for performance.
I mean, you guys pour your heart and soul out on the field, and the harsh reality is there will be moments of disappointment and feeling burnt out. I mean, you guys are only human, right? So how do you guys cope with that and preserve your mental and emotional wellness?
Yeah, I think it's important, as what Skippy touched on, is that you keep doing the good routine, as in getting your recovery with sleep and good foods, and of course, resting up and finding a way to switch off when you're away from football.
Besides switching off and keeping yourself mentally well, what are the other aspects of your health and wellness that you try to cultivate in order to keep yourself a more well-rounded athlete?
I think, like Joe mentioned, about having other interests. I mean, a lot of our life revolves around being at the training ground, training every day pretty much. So making sure that when you're away from the training ground or hotels, for example, that you'll have other interests. You do things with friends, keeping in touch with people. Like for me, I still keep in touch with people that I went to school with who are outside of the football sort of bubble. So making sure that you have those networks really to keep yourself happy and take your mind off it at times.
Now we have arrived at the moment for our Spurs fans because Oliver and Joe will be answering some of your questions on health and wellness that you guys sent in not too long ago. So our first question is from Christian Lam. What is your advice to young footballers wanting to live the dream of becoming a professional player?
Most you've got to enjoy what you're doing, try and be passionate about what you're doing. I think especially if you're young, try different positions, see what you like. For example, I don't know, 1 week try playing in defence, 1 week try playing an attacker, see what you like, try and get a feel for it. But most importantly, try and enjoy what you're doing, because then that takes care of everything else, I think.
Words to live by. All right, and our second question is from Jordan Koch. What is the quote you live by to keep smiling?
I think it's I think it's just like kind of what Skippy touched on, is more, just to learn something new every day. It's the most important thing is about enjoying it, and if you're not enjoying it, then there's no point in doing it. So yeah, I think that's kind of one for me.
Thank you for that, Joe and Oliver. We've actually brought in two very young, lucky fans into the studio to ask you their question themselves. So let's welcome Badrul Adli and Joel. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So Joel, do you want to start with your question?
Okay. What is in your headspace before a big match?
I think it's just to try and be relaxed, but also trying to, I don't know, maybe if you're playing against a certain player, maybe know what their strengths is. Maybe for like Joe, like a striker, and for me, like a midfielder that I'm playing against, maybe just have an understanding of who you're coming up against, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, etc. But also trying to stay relaxed but focused at the same time. That's in my head before a game.
How about you, Badrul? Do you have a question for them?
If you were not a footballer, what do you think you would be doing right now?
It's a very good question. I think that's a very difficult one. I love playing on the PlayStation, so I'd probably try and become a gamer.
So Oliver and Joe, do you guys have any last words of encouragement to give to Badrul and Joel?
It's just to keep enjoying, like I mentioned before. Also, I don't know, maybe you watch your favourite players and see stuff that they do in games. I say go somewhere and try and practice, or see what you see in the Premier League. See some of the players, like, I don't know, Harry scoring a goal, for example. Practice that in the garden and try and replicate what you see, and just try things in games as well that you see in the Premier League.
Yeah, and another thing as well, of course, just keep working hard. As you know, you're not always going to have good days every day, training and playing. So yeah, the most important thing is stay positive and keep working hard, and I'm sure the hard work will pay off.
All right, thank you, Oliver and Joe, for sharing with us how you keep well. And sadly, that is all the time we have with you. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us. You have made some Spurs fans so very happy.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.